Your chances of getting cancer in this country, astronomically higher than your chances of being harmed by an illegal immigrant. And yet we just cut hundreds of millions, billions of dollars from cancer research, and we added billions of dollars to go after illegal immigrants. Why does that make any sense?
For everyone out there who still hasn't given up on your conservative family members, friends, co-workers, or anyone else you know who's not totally lost to the MAGA cult, take advice from this former Republican mom.
Your chances of an illegal immigrant putting food on your table, very high. Your chances of an illegal immigrant having built the roof that went over your head, very high. So your chances of being served in a restaurant, or your dishes being washed, or your father being taken care of right now in a nursing home by somebody who's undocumented.
That frustrated shout from the background says so much about how the right wing views immigrants and migrants, disposable, second-class people who are undeserving of living in our country because they were unlucky enough to be born somewhere else with a skin color that they take offense to.
To suggest that this is about criminal activity is ludicrous because illegal immigrants are responsible for 1% of the violent crime in this country. 1%. They study, identify, and resolve if you give a shit about crime. And if you don't give a shit about the 85% of people committing crimes, then don't give me that's why you're going after illegal immigrants.
So let's be clear. The attack on immigrant communities is about much more than just border policy. It's about dehumanization. It's about control. It's about laying the groundwork to strip rights, not just from the most vulnerable, but from all of us. When you normalize cruelty, when you accept the lie that immigrants are dangerous, criminal, or unworthy, you allow that cruelty to expand. And it does. That's why these stories matter. That's why we have to resist the pull of numbness or silence, because every time we let these attacks slide, we chip away at the civil rights and dignity we all depend on.
The great replacement of white people is far more sinister than any redistricting project. That is at the core of the Democrat project, at the core. And Jasmine Crockett is just some circus act in that entire operation. But it's deathly serious. You shouldn't take what she says seriously. It's just a joke. What she represents is very serious, which is the continued attempt to eliminate the white population in this country.
When someone with Charlie Kirk's influence pushes white supremacist talking points, and let's be real, that's exactly what this is, it's not just offense, it's dangerous. It signals to millions of followers that this hate is acceptable, even patriotic. That's not free speech, that's propaganda. And the fact that he feels comfortable doing this on a massive platform with real political reach, well, that tells you everything about where this country is right now and how high the stakes are for 2024 and beyond. We are not in neutral moments. We're in a full-blown fight for the truth and basic decency.
And I say this
I'm
with brutal honesty, Jessica. The American people don't care that much how we're treating these people before we ship them out of the country back home. We want them treated humanely. Don't get me wrong.
Then you should
but this is not high on our list of priorities, how some criminal, illegal, rapist, trafficker, or wife abuser is being housed for 3 weeks before they get on a plane back to El Salvador. We have a lot of other priorities, okay? That is not one of them.
When you lose the ability to see the basic humanity in others, regardless of the crimes they may or may not have committed, given that due process seems to be a thing of the past when it comes to Trump's mass deportation plan, you start to lose your humanity along the way.
It's being called Camp Bliss, and it's slated to be the biggest ICE facility for illegal immigrants facing deportation in the United States. So we watched as belly-dump semi-trucks rolled in and cranes clawed at the dirt, crews racing to expand this massive holding site at Fort Bliss in El Paso. This, as ICE says, it's pursuing all options to increase bed space. ICE is working to expand its workforce with a major hiring blitz, offering $50,000 bonuses to bring in new deportation officers. The administration calling it, quote, a mission to save America.
So the Department of Homeland Security announcing the next alligator Alcatraz, but this one will be located in Indiana, and they're calling it the Speedway Slammer.
Obviously, we want them, if they've committed criminal acts or been convicted of them, we want them to pay the consequences of that, but then we will send them home. They don't belong in this country. They never should have been allowed in under the Biden administration, and so that's what this facility is in Indiana, and we're so grateful for the partnership that we're building with governors. We've got several of these facilities that'll come online soon, and it really is meeting a need that our country has to clean up our streets.
I'd like to see more. I'd like to see bigger facilities that hold, 4,000 or 5,000 people. Just creates more efficiencies. Near an airstrip, move people in and out quicker, bigger population, but 1,000 beds help. Right? I've said from day one, we need 100,000 beds. That's what we asked for in the big beautiful bill, and we got it. 100,000 beds will create more efficiencies and allow ICE agents to arrest more bad people on the street. And with us hiring at a massive rate, more boots on the ground, meaning we're arresting more criminals, which means we need more beds. Everybody arrests needs a bed. They're going to be in custody for several days, several weeks, several months, depending on the specific case. But the more beds we have, the more success we're going to see. The men and women of ICE are trying to do their job with integrity and honor. I don't want these names to take, detract from that. So not naming the facilities, but I wasn't involved in that, but I want people to focus on the hard work and the dangerous work the men and women of ICE are doing. And they're doing the integrity of honor, and I want us to stick to that. And so I don't want the names taking over the great work they're doing. This is serious work and it's dangerous work, so I want to stick with that.
It's argued that detainees at Alligator Alcatraz are in inhumane conditions, including flooded facilities, spoiled food, sweltering heat, and that they have limited access to their
Bunch of crap. I was there. I walked through detainee facilities. I walked through the medical facilities. I walked through the cafeteria. I had them show me, what did you feed these people today? I saw the lunch what they fed them. They ate better yesterday than I am eating today. Bottom line, that's God's honor. And I looked at what they're giving them for dinner. I did it just so I can push back on the fake media stories here. I went down there, I saw the meals. I'd sit down and have one of those meals. And I went through I didn't see any flooding. I went through the facilities where they're being detained, the air conditioning, the level of comfort. I was wearing a suit and I wasn't sweating. So again, fake stories. Do the math. We'd have to arrest 7,000 people every day for the remainder of this administration just to remove the people Joe Biden released in the country. 3,000, in my opinion, is not a target. It's not my target. But, everybody says 3,000 is a ridiculous, goal. I'll say, look at the numbers. We have to arrest more than twice as many of that just to remove the people that Biden led, and that's not counting the 12, 15 million already here. So I don't think anybody's working on a goal of 3,000. I think I look at the numbers every day, and I think the men and women are doing a great job. I hope we get over 3,000 a day when we bring these additional resources on, additional beds, additional transportation contracts. Because again, and despite what some of you are all saying, most people arrested aren't criminals. Again, crap, wrong. I look at the number every morning. The first thing I do is look at the numbers. The numbers I looked at this morning, 70% of everybody ICE arrested is a criminal. For some of y'all say, well, they're not criminal enough. Just a DUI. 10,000 people a year die from DUI. Bottom line is 70% of everybody ICE arrested is a criminal. Who's the other 30% that are arrested? So when you write the stories, why don't we just be honest and tell the whole story? Many of them are national security threats that don't have criminal history, because most national security threats lay low. They don't want to encounter law enforcement while they're here. For instance, over 300 Iranian nationals. Probably not criminals, don't have a criminal history, but they're national security. And they need to be arrested and taken off the streets. Who are the other ones? Many of them are final orders. These are people who had due process at great taxpayer expense, and a federal judge ordered them removed. And our job under statute is to remove them. So we find them, we remove them. May not be criminals, but they have a due process.
The nicknames, the slogans, the language, don't dismiss them as just noise. They are strategy. When Trump's administration uses words like invaders or brands camps as patriotic or bliss, they're not just trying to be catchy. They are slapping public perception. They're softening the edges of cruelty. They're making mass raids and deportations seem not only normal, but necessary. That's how propaganda works. And the next time someone tells you words don't matter, remind them language has always been the first weapon in dehumanization campaigns. It's always been that way.